And Nick.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Oh,
everyone.
hey,
We are
everybody.
so excited about this tonight. So, if y'all need some inspiration and hope right now, we've got you covered tonight. So, while everyone's joining, feel free to introduce your name in chat, where you're from.
Hey, Debbie. Hey, Heidi. Hi, Lynn.
I've got Alaska on the call tonight.
Now we're talking. Hey, Peggy. Well, as you can all see, I'm I'm someplace sunny. I'm up at my parents' place for the week of the 4th. They live on Puget Sound. It's been absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous since I got here, and it looks like that's going to be the case the whole time I'm here. So I will be doing a lot of kayaking and fun stuff on the water. And I hope that everybody has an opportunity to have some summer fun during the holiday week here.
I am not bitter and jealous at all. Not at all.
I feel really lucky because I know how hot and terrible it is in like large swaths of the United States, but out here in the Pacific Northwest, it's like 75 and sunny. It's like, I almost feel guilty.
All right. Well, I think we're at critical mass. Nick, you want to?
Yep. Let's kick it off. Okay, so just by way of introduction, for those of you who are maybe joining our call for the first time, uh, I'm Nick Knutson. I'm the executive director at Demcast USA. We're a 501c4 nonprofit organization that's dedicated to defeating right-wing disinformation online, and we do that by uh, recruiting and training and deploying all of you to use the social media reach that you have to spread pro-democracy messaging and counter their disinformation narratives online. And we've had a huge couple weeks in terms of just engagement on all of these social storms that we've been doing around the event, the July 17th Good Trouble event that we're going to talk about today with Barbara, but also about the big ugly bill that's currently uh, on the precipice of passing the Senate. And you guys will uh, they're going to pass something, and it's going to suck no matter what. And and but you guys have done an amazing job of advocating for for a less terrible version of this budget bill that they're trying to pass. And I just want to let everybody know that the advocacy doesn't stop after the Senate passes this thing, um, because it's got to go back to the House, and um, we can pivot straight to accountability for all these people who are taking these votes, and we are not going to be bashful about telling them that we're coming for their jobs for screwing over regular Americans and lining the pockets of billionaires. So we have tons and tons of advocacy still on the horizon, and just appreciate you guys so much for the diligent work you've been putting in for the last few weeks. Um, and with that, I think we should get started here. Jamie, do you want to introduce Barbara?
Yes, I am so excited to introduce Barbara Arnwine. She is the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, which is internationally renowned for its contributions to critical justice issues, including the passage of the Civil Rights Act. So, and now they are heading up the next National Day of Action, which is July 17th. Good Trouble lives on, and it is the anniversary of John Lewis's death. So I'm so excited to welcome Barbara. It's been such an honor to be able to work with her on these events the last few weeks, and they are growing. So give us the rundown, Barbara.
Well, first of all, thank you, Jamie, for that introduction. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everybody at Demcast for having me tonight. It is so exciting, everybody. We are really on the verge of doing something magnificent, something unprecedented. This may be the largest multiracial gathering, demonstration, protest, affirmation that this nation has ever seen. We're talking about throughout the country at this moment. We've already certified over 600 plus events. We got 140 waiting to be certified. We're over 760 events throughout the nation, including good old Hawaii, right? We are so excited. Come on, folks. It is just amazing. You look through that map, you go to goodtroubleliveson.org. That should become your home base for the next couple of weeks. Goodtroubleliveson.org. And you're going to see all the events all over the country. We are so grateful for every single individual who is hosting an event, every volunteer who said, I'll help with the event, every person who has said that I will participate in the events. We know that in this time, with this authoritarian based so-called government that we're dealing with, that we must not be silent. We have to lift our voices. We got to lift up our hearts. We got to rise up and say that America belongs to us, not to you, to we the people. We will never, ever be quiet, never, ever sit back, never, ever be satisfied until we achieve our vision of a just, inclusive, robust, unfettered, multiracial democracy that's representative of all the people. Until we get there, this work is critical and must be on the forefront of our agenda. I am so happy not to thank all the partner organizations. Get ready for this, everybody. We have at this moment, as before I got on, 176 partner organizations from throughout the country. And when I say partners, those are national and local and regional partners, statewide, all of it. We are so happy that that's occurring. We want you to know that I have been blessed to be at the Hands Off event in San Antonio, to speak at the Chicago No Kings event on June 14th. And one thing I just love is the energy people are bringing to these streets. It's not the old movement. I mean, these folks are they're coming out. They got not only energy, they got respect, they got love. I mean, we had 75,000 people in Chicago. And think about this. I saw nobody pushing anybody. I saw no raised voices. All I heard and saw was love, much love, good love. And that's what builds a real sustainable movement over the many decades, the many years, and the many months that we got to be out there doing everything that's possible. What's different about John Lewis? You've already heard about John Lewis. John Lewis is somebody who I knew personally. I had the joy of actually, talking with him on many an occasion and fighting in the Congress, fighting on the streets, going to Selma together, doing all kinds of things. And one thing I like about John Lewis is that the first word to describe good trouble, that's right, we're making good trouble together. The first word to describe John Lewis is courage. That man had courage from day one. At 16, he wrote to Dr. Martin Luther King and said, I want to be in these streets. And Dr. King said, no, I need you to go to college. I need you to do some education. He said, no, I want to be in these streets. As soon as he was adult enough where he could get his own tickets, he went to Birmingham and became part of the nonviolent movement there. And he became eventually the chair of SNCC. My favorite John Lewis story, people, many of you will say it was the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but my story goes right before then, when he was meeting with the SNCC leadership, and he said, I have to take the people across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. They said, no way, John, it's too dangerous. You know that governor is dangerous. You know what they could do with those state troopers. This is not something that we will endorse as SNCC. And he said, I must go. And they said, if you go, you give up your chairmanship. He said, if that is the cost, then so be it, because I will never abandon the people in their moment of need. He said, I must be with them. I must walk across that bridge with them. And in that moment of his defiance, and that courageous moment of saying, I'll give it all up, he transformed the whole movement. Because SNCC ends up saying yes. They end up sending, some of their chief lieutenants with him. And he then walks across that Edmund Pettus Bridge in March of 1965. And of course, there's a horrible beating that occurs to the 600 people who were on that bridge that day. And yet he never stopped. He never stopped as a freedom rider. He never stopped as the youngest person who ever spoke at the March on Washington years before. He never stopped. That's what I loved about him. For the totality of his life, he fought for voting rights. Even to the day of his death, he was there. So what we do when we honor John Lewis, we just don't talk about some memory. We don't talk about some statue. We're talking about a living legacy where we all come out and we all show that in that moment, in this point in history, we are all John Lewis. We're all good trouble. We're all committed to making sure this nation feels us, feels the good trouble vibe, because that's what we're about. So what's different about this movement? What's going to be different on July 17th? On July 17th, not only are we taking to the streets, not only are we building on the hands-off, not only are we building on the No Kings, we're also centering racial justice, because no American democracy can ever be righteous if it's not racially just. We must fight for all of our people, all our Native American brothers and sisters, all our Latino brothers and sisters, all of our Asian American brothers and sisters, everybody that's been kicked to the curb and marginalized, all our LGBTQIA brothers and sisters. We got to be out there for everybody who is now suffering and watching this bill moving and knowing that they're being demonized because they're poor, being demonized because they have a need in this society for food, a need in this society for sustenance, a need in this society for healthcare, a need in this society to address their disability rights. So all of this, that's why we come out. We're a big tent organization as TJC, but we're a big tent movement, and we want everyone to feel us. So that's one thing. We want to center racial justice. We want to be clear that in this moment, we know that we haven't gotten to the final mile, long ways from it, for achieving a just society. We also want to fight voter suppression. Good God Almighty, folks, come on. You've seen some of the stats, millions of people negatively impacted. I was just reading a report out of Texas. Thank you, all you great Texas organizers, that some 80 polling places have been moved, changed, made more inaccessible to the public. We can't put up with that, folks. We can't sit back and deal with this because, according to some estimates, anywhere from 3 to 8 million people were negatively affected by voter suppression in 2024. Imagine if those people had been able to vote. Imagine. I just think that we have to, understand that that's part of our duty, our fight, because we are the living. The last thing that this movement will do that's different is that we're going to center our vision for representative democracy. It blows my mind that in state after state, you go through their rosters of their legislatures and look at the missing numbers of women, the missing numbers of young people, the missing numbers of people of color. Look at those numbers and think to yourself what that means about what kind of government we actually have and what kind of government we should have if it were truly representative. These are the struggles. This is the vision that we want to enhance. We want everybody to understand that in this moment we come together and we fight. With that said, I will close by saying I've been on the phone like crazy today, talking to Chicago, which is going to be the flagship, talking to my partner organizations, DFAD, Public Citizen, Leadership Conference, Black Voters Matters, you name them, all these incredible organizations, ACLU, the League of Women Voters, just Indivisible, all of these great organizations. We've been on the phone just talking and working and getting the work done because that's what it takes. But one thing we all got in common in this moment is that we understand that the powers are in our unity. Our unity is our victory. When we forget that, when we think it's only about one ideological position or one issue, then we forget that it's all of us coming together and protecting each other in these times of constitutional crisis, these times of people trying to destroy whatever hope there ever was for a truly representative democracy. So it is so important for us as I close, I just want to thank you again for allowing me to bring some words, because it's the word is the movement. The movement is you. You are the people. You got the power. You're going to make the difference. You're the reason why. You're the hope that this nation is dependent upon. We got to be out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you.
I'm fired up. I don't know about y'all, but I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. So,
yes.
And Barbara, so obviously this is a massive event nationwide. We had the hands off. We had the No Kings.
Yes.
And I know TJC has taken a sort of a lead role in this, which is super cool. What do you hope this looks like, and like, how do you hope these events look different, or in terms of a message? Like, how there's a bunch of people on this call, they're digital messengers, they can spread word about what we want this to look like. Like, what are your hopes on the 17th?
Okay. TJC, the Transformative Justice Coalition, which I am one of the co-leaders along with Attorney Daryl Jones. We are, a racial justice organization devoted to voting rights. Somebody just asked the question, what is TJC? That's what we are. We are the Transformative Justice Coalition. And we've been out here. In fact, this is our 10th anniversary. This month, we are 10 years old and been out here doing this work and trying to do it. What should it look like? I want to see one difference. When I've been in some of these demonstrations, I've looked around and I have not seen people of color, not in the way that they should be represented. I am hoping with every bit of my strength that people will reach out and to their neighbors and to coalitions across their local cities and their local counties and bring out the people of color. Yes, folks have been saying that they're through. They're mad. Yeah, they're mad. They're mad because of the way folks voted. We understand that. They upset because of the frustration of a very incredible candidate being rejected for something that has been a nightmare for our country. I understand that. I understand the whole, thing. But folks are ready to hit the streets now. Folks feel it now. They're seeing it, and they're seeing that they need to be there. But we got to make sure that people are invited in, that people are outreached to, that people are there. And I think that, our goal here is to have, as I said, the largest multiracial turnout ever. And, I'm really happy that the people in the Navajo Nation met yesterday. They met yesterday, and I understand there was some serious enthusiasm, because one thing you got to know about John Lewis, he really did go everywhere. He walked those lands in Arizona, in New Mexico, of the Navajo, of the Apache, the Hopi. He never, stopped fighting for everybody's rights. He was there beside Cesar Chavez, and he fought, so much for every group. So that's what people are missing, is that he is beloved. I wear this button. You see my John Lewis button? I wear it all the time. People stop me everywhere and say, I know him. And I'm looking like, I'm in Bakersfield. What you mean you know him? He was here. I know him. I'm down in some, really small hamlet in Georgia. He was here. I know him. And it's because he was just so energetic, so committed. He never stopped fighting for all of us. He didn't just see it as one struggle. He really understood all the dimensions. And when the SWAT came into the Congress, and people were saying these women are too radical, they're too far gone, they're too leftist, he was the one who said, no, you better listen to them. You better embrace them. You better learn from them. You better change some of your agenda to reflect what they're telling us is needed in this moment. That's the kind of man he was. And that's why we have to, stand in his shoes. And that's why they call him the good troublemaker, because he always said it is incredibly important that each of us get into good trouble, necessary trouble. I hope that answers, Nick.
Yeah, we actually have a great question. Yep. Our indivisible group is considered an online vigil. Is that acceptable?
Yes. We understand. Listen, there are a lot of people who, for whatever reason, cannot be physically at events. I know folks were watching the national broadcast last year and at their jobs. They had it on their telephones. They were watching, local vigils. People, were watching, films and other things that, and they could not come out. We did the first John Lewis, folks, was done in 2021, the first anniversary of his passing. We had the first John Lewis. So that was in the heart of COVID. And so there were a lot of events that were, in person, but there were a lot of events that were virtual. And we understand that there are communities that cannot get out to an event. We understand there are people who need to have that virtual opportunity, and we're going to provide it, because on July 17th at 8:00 Eastern, 7:00 Central, 5:00 Western, we're going to have the national broadcast. And that's for anybody, anywhere in this country who cannot get there to an event personally. But I do know one thing about our fight against authoritarianism. I believe with Maria Stefan and others in the 3.5% rule, which means that we have to be visibly active, visibly seen as opposing authoritarianism. I mean, I take this stuff very seriously. I've been studying everything I can about the Third Reich, everything I can about about modern authoritarian societies, because it is critical that we know the enemy that we're fighting, that we understand the time we're in. And one of the things that they revel in, that they live in, is the silence. And we can't be silent. We must be heard. We must be out there and seen.
So, and I know I've had a few people of our community ask, what if you don't see it on a map and you want to host an event, but you've never done one before? Because I know it can be intimidating. And I've told people this is probably the best one to start with,
Yes.
because the host support is some of the most incredible I've ever seen.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm in love with the DFAD public citizen interns. I just love them. I mean, every one of those 600 and plus approved events, they did that. They literally took every name and looked to make sure it was a real person. They literally looked at every site to make sure it was a real site. They literally went to make sure that these were friends and people who really want to make a difference in this moment. I love them. I just love their tenacity, all of it. So what I want to say to anybody who's new at this, we all were new at some time. We all took that first step, right? And we all had to learn how to do this. And you're so right, Jamie. The support for this movement is real. We're going to send out to every host. Did you hear me? Every single host. We're going to send out for who are having in-person events. We're going to send out those placards that say protect our vote, those placards that let people know that this is a John Lewis event. To the degree that we can, we might be able to get some buttons done. We're going to do everything we can to support groups. And that's why we're having the flagship event in Chicago with the national broadcast, but we're also working on anchor events. While we're on this call, folks, there's a whole slew of people on the Atlanta Planning Committee call right this moment, because Atlanta is working on their event, and they're going to have what they call a good trouble get down, because they're about to do some serious line dancing and some serious, celebration of our, fight and of our community. So, there's so many ways to come at this. And one thing I want people to know is that you're doing it makes all the difference in the world. Don't be afraid. Tap into that John Lewis courage, that John Lewis spirit, and get out there and do this. It's been a joy to talk to a lot of people doing it for the first time, because one thing TJC, Transformative Justice Coalition, does is we work with young people. We work with people as young as 17 years old. And we got people 18, 19, 20 doing their first events for John Lewis. Come on, they're ready. So, we want to, be there for everybody. Please know that you can start small. As I pointed out, we had events last year that were as small as 20 people. And we had events as large as thousands. So, and we expect the same spread. So don't feel like you got to climb the mountaintop. You can do what you can where you are to the degree that you're capable, and know that we are there to back you up.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think some of the most impactful and effective events are the ones with 20 people, where they're on a street corner. They're on a street corner in some random town somewhere, and they're making their voices heard. That is a way of connecting with your community in a way that a giant protest isn't. It's not. That's not as personal.
And I love when you have those small ones on the street corners, and you take the different, street corners, and have the four people, sighted around those 4 points of the intersection, and the cars just be honking, because there's a whole lot of folks who are with us. They agree with our vision. They want this better America. They're horribly distressed at what's happening with this country. And there's a lot of remorse, a lot of regrets, including for those who did not vote. So it's good to give people that energy, that affirmation, that what they're feeling is good and that we feel it too, that we're right there with you. The other, one of my favorite events, believe it or not, I know you guys are going to say this is weird, but it's true. A lady came up to me and said, Barbara, the most moving thing I've ever done in my life was I put together an event at one of the Civil War cemeteries. Get ready for that. And she said 25 people came out with their candles and they did a candlelight vigil in honor of John Lewis. And she said this was the first time she ever hosted anything. She was, I think, 71 years old. And this was her first time ever doing anything. And she just, sought me out to make sure I knew what she had done. And she was so proud, so happy. And this was a year later. So I want people to understand what it means to do these events. And thank you, Nick, for pointing that out.
Is there any preview at all of what to expect from the national broadcast? There was some interest about that in the chat.
Oh, well, we're gonna do some unusual things. Well, first of all, we're gonna have, of course, some elected officials speak. We're going to have union leaders speak. We're going to have people who have been impacted by these healthcare threats and cuts. We're going to have people who have been impacted by the food insecurity speak. We're going to have people, talk about what it means to be threatened in this time by this administration for just being who you are. So we're going to have people, express themselves, but we're also going to have the John Lewis family. We're going to have John Lewis family members there. We're going to have, we're going to have some videos, inspiration. Prior to our starting, we're going to have a huge set of different dancing and celebration because we don't want everybody sitting around looking morbid. We got to be happy when we see each other in these streets. We got to be happy to see each other. We got to be just really, really, super energized and enthusiastic when we see other folks who feel like we do, other folks who are willing to get out there and put their bodies right there in the streets. So we're excited about it. I think it's going to be amazing. And we're going to have, some entertainment. We're going to have some other, we're going to have a smoking DJ. They tell me he's the best they ever seen. We'll see about that because there's a whole lot of folks trying to claim that who want that fame. But we're going to have some really good stuff. And I'm hoping that people will learn. We'll show some short videos. There'll be all kinds of things. But the broadcast, the national broadcast, is 1 hour. I just want to make that very clear. And we want people like we had last time, people in nursing homes who watched. We had people who, like I said, got 1 hour. As I said before, it's at 8:00 Eastern. It will be 7:00 Central, 5:00 Western. And so last time, as I mentioned, people told me that they were watching on their jobs. And we know because they sent us pictures and they sent us notes and thanks. So we want everyone. What network? We're going to have a whole set of ways to watch it, where it's going to be free to everybody. And we're going to, one thing that we've done in the past is that we've had every organization be able to tap directly into the live stream and to be able to show it to all their members. That's one way we've done it. And we will have it available on some other, networks.
Excellent. That's a really nice, because I know not everybody can make it out. So
right.
And especially because it's on a Thursday, which is a little different.
That's
correct. But obviously it's honoring John Lewis and the anniversary of his death. So that makes all the sense in the world. But, that's going to get in the way of some people participating.
Yes.
So this can help everybody feel connected.
Precisely. And there's a reason why we're doing it that late, right? Instead of doing the middle of the day or we know that. and that we're respectful of that. And it's so funny, Nick, about this issue about a Thursday. You know, the last year it was on a Wednesday. The first year it was another year it was on a Tuesday. And what's amazing is people come out. They have such respect for him, but I think they're coming out now out of, you know, the respect for John Lewis and his spirit and wanting to be part of that legacy. But they're also turning out because this is their moment to establish their legacy, to establish their foothold, to establish their commitment, and to reflect that. So I think, you know, for some people, this is a beginning of who they are in this moment. I tell you one thing, I've told everybody, I'm not the same woman I was last year. I'm a different person. I might be doing a lot of the similar work, but in this moment, I have to challenge myself to rise in a different way, to be there in a different way, to fight in a different way, to have a larger, more expanded vision of work. So it's incredibly important that everybody, consider not allowing a day to deter you. Like I said, we determine. It's us. It's these streets are our streets. These days are our days. We define them, we determine them, we shape them, we put the parameters on them, how we want it to look. This is our movement. And the problem is when we think it's somebody else's, when we think somebody else is going to tell us what to do, when to do it, whatever, we do what we know is necessary. And that's why I love the fact that people have been out there every single day doing what they can do, in the way that they can and being heard. I love it. Thank you, everyone who does that.
Jamie, did we have any other Q&A questions?
So there's just one question. And so when Trump is purging the government of anyone who has ever supported reducing racism, how do we maintain our hope?
I love that question.
Yeah, good one.
Because what I do as someone who's been in this movement for, years and fought, what I do, folks, I look back and I try to imagine Harriet Tubman. I try to imagine Frederick Douglass. I try to imagine any hero, shero in their moment. People told me they went to visit Fannie Lou Hamer and she had 50 bullet holes in her front door. I try to imagine these people. I try to imagine where that courage came from. I try to imagine where that determination came from. I try to take what I can of the spirit of of all of these, wonderful fighters. And I try to bury their spirits inside my heart. I try to capture it. I try to say, your struggle isn't over. As long as I'm alive, I'm part of your struggle. I'm part of that continuum of fighting for justice. As long as I can breathe, as long as I can speak, as long as I can do what I can do, I carry you with me, Harriet. I carry you with me, Ida B. Wells. I carry you with me, Cesar Chavez, Fred Karamazov, all these amazing people. I carry your spirit with me. Thank you for that honor.
Thank you so much, Barbara. I know I needed this hope tonight. We all put up with a very long weekend, so I'm definitely feeling a lot better. And actually even have some ideas for our local event that maybe we can do now. So
oh, good.
You are so incredibly inspiring. I think I saw it throughout the chat stream. Like, I needed this tonight. I needed this tonight. I needed this tonight.
Yes.
I needed this tonight. So Barbara, thank you so much for joining us for the work with the Transformative Justice Coalition and on these Good Trouble events, and for just your lifetime of advocacy and amazing work.
Thank you so much for everything you do, Nick. You have definitely made this space different that we live in by your good work. Thank you, Jamie, for your incredible coalitional support. We're just so grateful to everybody because we need each other. The one thing we got to remember in these times when it's hard, when we got a real villain opponent who wants to take us down, that is what we need is each other. It's the love and the ability to reach out to each other and see in each other's eyes and to hold each other's hands and to know that we're together in this moment.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
We will see you again.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yes. And
Can't
we'll
get
make,
that thing.
yeah, and we'll make sure that Chicago is set up to live cross stream on our Facebook and all of that. So
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now here's your guys' homework. We have to share about this now. And we've actually taken some of the videos, made videos with the words of John Lewis embedded in them. So people can actually hear the words of John Lewis. I love, it has been such a pleasure to work with Barbara on the national side. It has just been incredible. So
she's 100% one of my favorite human beings on the planet.
Yeah,
Like,
she is.
When she was talking about thinking back and holding in her heart the legacies of Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, I was like, oh my God, I might need a minute here. But she's so fucking inspiring.
She is.
And we're lucky to have her on the call.
And you probably can't make out in the picture, but on my small picture on the back wall is actually a picture of Obama hugging John Lewis at the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So I don't think Barbara wants to run for Senate. So now that we've uplisted everybody, we can bring you back down to earth. We still don't know when the Senate vote is going to be. There still have been no updates. We know that there's 2 no votes. We need 2 more. So it could be late tonight. It could be early tomorrow. We just don't know yet. Yeah, I mean, both Collins and Murkowski have expressed concern, but we know where that concern has gotten us in the past. But if the Senate does pass this tonight, the fight is not over. It goes back to the House, and there are a lot more people nervous about this in the House because the Medicaid cuts go deeper than what the House agreed. And there are a lot of vulnerable Republicans, especially in New Jersey and California and New York, that are very afraid of this bill. So keep sharing from our Vote No toolkit. We have been using the same link through this whole vote process. So bookmark it because you will see it updated pretty consistently as we've been doing the social storms. What we do know right now is the House Rules Committee is planning to meet tomorrow to potentially set up the vote for Wednesday. But we've got several Republican House members that right now are no. Thomas Macy, Andy Harris, Jeff Van Drew, Nick LaLota. So we've got Don Bacon, we have Jeff Hurd, Juan Cisimani, David Vallejo. So we've got a bunch of pass in the House. So don't give up hope yet. As far as demonstrations, if it passes, there might be some local rapid response events. I know there are some July 4th events happening through 5051, but I don't have the details on those. Because obviously on a personal thing, I don't have anything to do with 5051 anymore. So
yeah. And I think, wherever we are on on the 4th of July. I think it's an opportunity for counter messaging and presenting a positive vision of what America is and should be. And we can do that whether we're at an event or we can do that on our social media feeds, which is the focus of this organization. So I encourage everybody on the 4th to, you know, to talk about the America that we want and the America that we deserve, and you know, have that sort of vision countered with what we're getting right now. You know, well, yeah, like Jamie said, we will see what happens with this vote, both in the Senate and then subsequently in the House. But even if this version or a version of this bill passes, even then the fight isn't over, because as MLK said, the arc of the moral universe bends toward justice, and we will keep fighting regardless, especially on behalf of the people who are going to be most hurt by these terrible policies that they're trying to pass. So,
Yeah, and if you've been, I've been following a lot of historians, especially European ones, because they aren't getting censored. And really, the arc of, in history, when you have such a pendulum swing to the right, usually what happens is there's an overcorrection to the left. And so, that is my hope, that we can make it through and then overcorrect for actual progressive policies that actually help people and not billionaires. So we have to keep the faith. And remember, if you guys need to take time off, you have to take time off. Don't feel guilty that you need to turn off social media, turn off the news for 24 hours, because it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, and I mean, especially this is a holiday week, like, and it's the 4th of July is an interesting one this this year, given what's happening. And I know that there might be sort of mixed feelings, but remember that the 4th of July isn't a celebration of America as it is today. It's a celebration of the Declaration of Independence and all of the really, really amazing transformative ideas that our founders, as imperfect as they were, put forward on that day. And that's worthy of celebrating and using as a messaging opportunity, both in our personal lives and also on social media.
Yeah, we're in for the long haul. We're going to have some victories. We're going to have some losses. So, but keep your eyes on the prize.
And I think is that it, Jamie? We have any
I think
other
that's
updates?
it. I think we'll give everyone back. Just please share. Someone said they were having a problem sharing to Facebook. I'm not sure why. Sometimes Facebook does like to download it, and then you do have to put the actual graphic in there. So that could be why. But we do have the links embedded. And if you go to the map, it shows you where everything is. But if you click on the map, you can search by zip code just to find one closer to you. So.
All right. Well, we keep on keeping on.
I will make sure all of these events are up in the REAP app to share as well. So.
Thanks, Jamie. Okay. Love you
Everyone
guys.
have a great holiday.
Bye.